I'm going to get started. All right, group one. Hi, I'm Brenda Crossan, and my audience is younger elementary. Group one, learning styles, the VARK model. So I chose the VARK model visual images. So different visual images help students, such as a large map, highlighted areas, a Venn diagram, arrows, charts, highlighted areas, like I said, even interactive writing. So those are awesome visual images. And these images were all downloaded from my Google search. Next, challenges of teaching and learning for visual learners. Some challenges for visual learners is distraction with the eyesight and when even intense focus is needed. Some students who use a computer are often distracted by notification and websites that enhance them visually. I came up with two technology sources for visual learners. One is this website called Visual Words. Now this website lets you type in a word, you get a nod of a different word associated with that word, and then you can drag it to different nods around you to clarify your words. It even includes dictionaries, and this site is very simple and young for children to manage for effective learning. The second one that I came up with is highlighted words, such as using different font, like you can see right here on my screen, different colors of words underlined. I see the dog, that word is highlighted. Directions, write your name on your paper. All these are great visual cues for younger elementary students. Next, I have two multimedia elements for visual learners. Two different websites. The abckids.com is a nice video to include that shows very colorful shapes, colors, alphabet, and animals for young children with a nice visual learning opportunity. Second one is AutismNet. This website offers tons of different visual photos to help the classroom for a visual learner to be effective, such as they have pictures and photos of a daily schedule to help him or her throughout the day so they know what to expect next. And for the quiz, I have the homeschool.com. Now this will help visual learners with the colorful pictures highlighted in pink, what letters to use. The photos are good and helpful for those children. Next, discussion and resources. Visual learners do better when information is presented with these tools: arrows, charts, diagrams, photographs, or videos. They would benefit from sitting in the front of the class. I geared my types of learners around young elementary students for this project. The resources I used are from Google and hyperlinks on the web, where I retrieved my information. Next, auditory learning is the second part of the VARK model. Auditory learning, they do well with music, they need headphones, they do well with rhythm and rhymes. I remember back from elementary in music class, every good boy does fine. Little things like that will help those visual learners. Now these images were all downloaded from my Google search. Challenges of teaching and learning for auditory learners. Auditory learners like to be heard so they can be disruptive to the class at times. They tend to be easily distracted, such as they like to read out loud since they like to hear themselves. Since it's hard for them to read quietly, they could just mouth the words. Two technology sources for our auditory learners is one, Storywaver. This website offers types of learners, especially auditory. These books are audio-visual storybooks that support young readers to learn to read. They could also use it in different languages. The second technology source is RhymeZone. As I mentioned earlier, children with auditory learners do well with music and rhyming. This website offers that great tool for auditory learners. Since I do better with rhymes and songs, this would be a great option for them. And they also can search by different genres, music, and theater. I have two multimedia elements for auditory learners. One is the YouTube, and the second one is learninggamesforkids.com. Lastly, discussion and resources. Auditory learners do better when they hear information. They benefit from using These kinds of tools, music, rhyming, singing, reading aloud, repetition. For young elementary students with auditory learning, I suggest using audio-visual storybooks and associate singing or rhyming into the learning for them to comprehend facts. The resources I use from this Google and the hyperlinks to the webs where I retrieved the information. Next, I'd like to hand this over to Mackenzie, and she will talk about the second half of the VARK model.
Hi there, my name is Mackenzie. I geared most of my research, well, all of my research towards early middle school. So a lot of the times when reading and writing, we'll do a lot of that in the classroom. And so these are times when kids who like to read and write will really show their strength towards their work in the classroom. You can do the next slide.
Sure.
All right, so what I found for challenges of teaching and learning students who prefer to read and write are that they decode words and comprehend them quicker than others, but they do have the most hard time because of the visual aspect. They like to see the words, and the speed at which they learn may be a little slower because, again, they're encountering these unfamiliar terms quicker than others. Some technologies I found for those who like to read and write is Adobe Spark Post, and this is where teachers can create virtual exit slips. This would help a lot for those who like to read and write. It lets them read through any question or forum that the teacher gives to be able to write down their thoughts and ideas that they have. So again, them being able to write all their answers will really help them be strong with their work. And then Nearpod is another great platform that I found for teachers. It makes the lesson very interactive. It kind of ties along with visual, however, there are more words, so the students are able to read through the lesson and interact by writing their thoughts and ideas within that lesson. Some multimedia elements that I chose were Teach Your Monster to Read, more early middle school, but it helps students who are struggling to learn to read can use this website. It'll help sound out words or consonants that students may struggle with. They can click on any word basically, and it'll help them pronounce those words and form those sentences that they need. As well as Read to Lead, that was another great website that I found for more older middle school kids that was that again help with more bigger terms throughout the class that they can learn how to pronounce and like read the definition and all that to help them expand their vocabulary. Next slide, please. All right, and so the last type of learning for the VARK model is kinesthetic or hands-on learning, also known as tactile. These kids love to, again, be hands-on with the experiments or any learning. So I found this great image down in the bottom left. Some study habits include using role-playing. So a lot of kids who like to interact with others, they learn best by either role-playing or building models of certain things so that they can see visually what it is they're learning about. It helps them better understand what it is that they're talking about in the classroom. All right, next slide, please. So some of the challenges that I found for those who are tactile learners are they like to move around. So it does make it more common for them to be able to not to be able to stay still in class. So they are having a difficulty paying attention when the class is reading a textbook because they don't learn best with reading and it doesn't keep their interest. So they may have to fidget in their desk or sometimes even move around, which can be a distraction to the class overall. So it's good to find different ways to help find lessons and games and stuff that will help those kinesthetic learners pay attention better and just interact with the class and have their interests be heard, basically. Some useful technologies I found. I wasn't able to find any apps, but I found that using tablets and devices with touchscreens, having those easily available in the classroom will really help kinesthetic learners. Them being able to touch the touchscreen can make them feel more in control of their learning by being able to touch exactly what it is that they want to learn about. And then some educational and learning apps on school tablets would be useful as well, obviously, within that tablet or computer, just for specific subjects that allow students to feel more comfortable and confident in their learning and participation in the class. Some multimedia elements that I found for this. The first one is a YouTube video. I found this a great video for teachers who need inspiration on how to create some study tools for those who prefer hands-on learning. I think it's about like 17 or 18 tips that she gives, different ways to make the class more interactive and more hands-on with any subject that you may be teaching. And then the other hyperlink is a website, more ideas for teachers to make reading more interesting for their students, not just kinesthetic learners, but any other learner who doesn't prefer to read or write. This really helps for them to be more interactive and provide their thoughts and ideas in their own way to adjust to the certain subjects or specific books that they may be talking about during that class. All right. And then these were our references. These were what Brenda used at first, and then the next page are some of mine as well. My images were also searched through Google Images, so just basic images that I found to be useful. And that was basically what we found. So the VARK model, important because it's important to know and understand what your style of learning is and how it is that you learn best. So being able to find the challenges that go along with that will definitely help solve problems with how to go about teaching students who have a hard time learning different ways. And so if sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's just a good way and a great model to go by when teaching. Again, students will, if you let your students understand the way they learn, it'll help them in the long run with their studying tools and how they go about their educational future.
Super, thank you, Mackenzie. So that's our conclusion with our VARK model learning style. Mackenzie and I were both passionate about this, so that's why we chose this topic. Thank you for watching us.
Thank you.